Hey guys, how are you? Welcome. I am Summer with Summer Sweet Shop here for our Tip Tuesday. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to do some florals with you guys. So as we all know, it's spring. It's beautiful outside. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there and are able to get out and take a walk. We have taken so many walks lately, but we are just enjoying all the spring blooms and the spring flowers that are out, and it's just so pretty. So a lot of times we want to mimic those beautiful flowers on our cookies, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. So I'm going to show you 3 different floral cookies. And we're going to do that all using our tip number 104. This is a Wilton tip 104. 104 I have found is the most versatile cookie not cookie, but your most versatile icing tip that you can have. It works with so many different designs that you can do. So I'm going to show you just a few of those today, of different ones that you can get that can make just a beautiful floral arrangement or use for a custom order. These were just great for a spring set or for like a Mother's Day set or something like that. So we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to tell you guys what I have here. Let's first off talk about, I've got a wet, damp paper towel right here because I don't want my icing to start to crust in my tips. So I like to have like a little damp paper towel. This way it keeps everything where it's not going to dry out and be moist, and it's going to hold up. So I like to have that. I've got my green here that is in my tip 352. I really love this tip. I use this the most. I do have other floral tips, but this one is just the one I use the most, the one I grab the most. And then I've got just some yellow here and just a regular tip. It's just in a number 2 tip, I believe is what it is in. And I've got, like I said, my pink that is in the 104. We're going to do everything from the pink 104 tip here today because I only have one 104 tip. So I'm going to show you guys the different flowers in each of with that 104 tip. And then I just have the star tip. I have the star tip in number 21. This also, another great star tip is a 18 and a 16, which I couldn't find mine today. I was actually looking for my 18. I could not find it. I have all my tips here in a little container. This one is old, but it is an 18. But it is a little bent. So actually I might use this one instead of the 21. I think this one will work better. Well, we'll see when we get there. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start out with, I don't know the official names of these flowers. I probably should. But we're going to start out with type of Gerber daisy is what I like to call it. I had Gerber daisies all in my wedding, and I love them. They're one of my favorite flowers. That and peonies are like my very favorite. So we're going to start off with our 104 tip, and you want to start. So you see how it's got this like big piece here, and then it comes down to a point. Almost always, you want this the point to be facing away from you, okay? So away from you, I'm behind the camera here. And then you want the bigger end, the wider end, to be closer to you on your side of the bite. And you're gonna almost hold it at a 45-degree angle. This is where your turntable comes in big handy. I don't use a turntable a whole lot except for like when I'm doing videos, but when I'm doing florals, anytime I always want to pull out my turntable because it just makes it so much easier to work. And so you're not having to like move your cookie around. So this one is from LC Sweets. You can get it from her website. But we're going to start off and we're going to do like a 45-degree angle. We've got our pointy end is pointing away from us. Our thicker end, the wider end is closer to our body. And all I'm going to do is do an upward motion and pull straight down. I almost forgot to tell you about your icing. So you want to make sure you have super thick icing in here. You don't want it so thick that it's going to crack or break when you are using it. But a lot of times when I mix it up in my outline icing, I will still add a little bit more powdered sugar to a separate bowl to make the icing for my florals. So just know that with your leaves and your flowers, you want to have a really thick icing because you want it to keep its shape. Okay, so I'm going to make another petal just right under that, like so. So all I'm doing is these motions up and down towards the middle of the cookie. Now, it doesn't have to be right in the center of the cookie. I probably will not get it right in the center of the cookie. But I'm just kind of like leaving it up a little bit. You notice like that little up motion and just tucking the next one in right underneath that petal. Does that make sense? So I'm just going all the way around until you get to the end. And then, oh, that just got all over my hand. And then you're going to go, same thing, you're going to have the end pointing the same way. You still got your skinny end on this pointing away from you, your thicker end pointing towards you. And you're just going to do a second layer. You're not going to go as far, and you're going just right underneath that first layer. And there, it's looking so good and so pretty. So some things that you can do with this when you get to this point is you can do like a little star here. I like to use some nonpareils. These are from Grundously Delicious. I like just to use some nonpareils, or you can have thicker ones. So there are thicker, or not thicker, bigger ones that you can use that work really, really great. If you want, once you get done with this, you can always add some some leaves at the end. And so all I'm doing is taking my leaf tip, so it's like in a V shape. You want to make sure that you have it pointing straight up like so. And so you always just sometimes you want to practice before you squeeze anything out. Just practice like on a paper towel before you make any big marks. But there you go. There you have your pretty Gerber daisy. That's what we'll call it. And then you're just going to let that dry, and that cookie is done. You don't have to go back and do another step. That one is done. That's the beauty of doing these florals. Okay, number 2, we're going to do, use our number 104. We're using 104 for all of these today. And this time, I'm going to do my bag straight up, almost straight up. It's kind of like at a 2 o'clock, I'm going to say. And I'm going to have my thick end, my wider end is towards the edge of the cookie. The skinny end, the pointy end is towards the middle of the cookie. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze and pull forward, and just pulling right towards the middle. And this kind of can work great for a daisy cookie. So I'm just squeezing, squeeze, 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 pull, squeeze, 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 pull. And I like when I squeeze and I pull my tip through the top of that big poof. It just kind of gives it a good look. And don't worry about all this mess here. We're going to go back over and add another layer. So I'm just going in between the 2 petals that I just made. So you can see how the turntable works so much better. And I'm just squeezing and pulling. Just remember that thick, wider end is pointing away from you. Okay, so to clean up this middle, we're going to do I'm going to use the star tip with the number 21. And I'm just going to do it right in the middle here, like so. And then I'm going to come back with my yellow and just do, so I'm just doing light. This one's kind of thin. It's been used, but I'm just going to add a little bit extra. This would be great with a daisy. So you could do the daisy and you could do the white petals here and then do a yellow star in the middle. It's kind of all mushing together right now because my yellow is not very stiff, but you kind of get the idea as well. I don't care for the way it's looking. So I'm going to try fix it here and add a top layer and see if that helps. That helps some. And then you could also just do a white dots. Again, you want this to be a thicker icing so that this will come out better and not melt together. So again, you could do this with the yellow petals, and I would have, but I'd only have one 104 tip. But I wanted you to see how that looks. Okay, and now moving on to the third one that you're going to do with your number 104 tip. And this one might be my favorite one. And I'm not even sure what flower this is, but you're going to take your tip. Again, you're going to have your pointy end pointing away from you. Your wider end is towards you, towards your body. And you're not going to start in the middle. You're going to start kind of halfway between the middle and the end of the cookie. And you're just going to pipe a continuous, and I'm kind of like almost making little petals. Oh, I almost forgot to add a leaf in this before we got started. I wanted to show you how to do that. So we'll show you with this one. So I'm just going to do my leaf tip, and I'm going to make a really big leaf here. And all I'm doing is squeezing, and I'll show you here on this naked cookie, but I'm just squeezing and just kind of doing an up and down motion. If you want to do like one big leaf, you just do one big squeeze, stop squeezing and pull back. Like so. If you want to have a nice little fishtail on it, you're just doing some up and down motion. Remember that you want to have your V is to the side. So you want to have it perpendicular, straight up and down. You're just looking at the point. If you're looking straight down, you just see the point of the tip. Okay, so again, I've got pointing in away from me, thicker in towards me, and then I'm just doing right over the top of that. So that's my first layer. I'm going to come back through and do another layer, and I'm just kind of mimicking and falling right under that first line. So I'm going to go again until I get to the center. So again, this is where, look how pretty that is. So that turned out super, super pretty. You've got your leaves. I meant to have like 3 other leaves there, but you can see like it just looks really good with it poking out there. That way you don't have to worry about getting underneath your petals and everything, that you can get your leaf there. And I usually will add either like the thicker pearl type of non-perils, or I use like the little bitty ones. So either will work, but something to have in that middle that just looks so, so pretty. You could also do like the star tip in the middle of this as well, and it would look super, super pretty. But those are the flowers that we